The first type of innovation we call as growth creating innovations. You see, disruptive innovation is basically an innovation that an innovator brings to the table where he is able to make the product simpler, much more cost effective, easier for the customer to access and buy and use, and the innovation that actually helps develop manufacturing, and behind manufacturing develop distribution, service, and in the whole process employ people. It also adds to growth because there is physical value addition and activity going on, and it adds to the economy. So this kind of innovation we call as growth creating innovations. And because this particular type of disruptive innovation is able to make the products more accessible to a larger number of people, we also call this as empowering innovations, because it empowers more people to make use of these innovations. A good example to give you would be the computer. If we go back some decades in history, a computer was so expensive that it would cost almost $2 million to buy one. And only the very rich institutes or very large businesses could afford one. But during the decades that followed, we had disruptive innovations taking place, and we had the desktop computer. From what used to be a $2 million computer, which very few would use, the desktop computer would cost hardly $2,000, where a large number of people, a large number of businesses could afford, and almost everybody could have one. It did not stop there. The innovation continued, the disruption continued. And then now we have the intelligent phone, the handheld device, which almost every vegetable vendor, auto rickshaw driver, or even a road sweeper today is able to buy one. It hardly costs $200. So you see, from something that used to cost $2 million, where very few people were able to use it, to today, any number of people can own this kind of a product. This is an example of growth creating innovation. Just imagine how many industries have grown behind this innovation when you go from here to here and here to here. How many industries have grown in terms of manufacturing? How much of distribution has grown? How much of service behind it has grown? It's huge, isn't it? Every country. To give you an example back home, if you went some years before, a few decades before, a CNC machine in India would cost anywhere 45 lakhs to 65, 70 lakhs of rupees, which was a lot of money at that time. The technology was new. Not everybody, not every industry, not every organization could actually afford this. So, as time went on, the manufacturers conceived the idea that the market needs more accessible products, so more people could use it. And so, people came out with different kinds of CNC machines, which became slightly less in cost. They were able to reduce some cost, but still, these machines would cost 24, 25, 30 lakhs or a little more. Even though this price was different, not every industry could afford it. Not every industry could afford it, not only for the cost, but also because of the technology. Then came 1991, and with the opening of the economy, the duties were reduced, and so imports became very attractive. Suddenly, a lot of machines from low-cost manufacturing countries like Taiwan, Korea, Spain, etc., even East Europe, it became attractive to buy these machines because people were able to get good machines, current technology, very low cost, and they were able to meet their production needs much better than what they were doing before. So what happened to the Indian industry? The Indian industry would almost go out of business. They would be completely disrupted and thrown out of business if another disruption was not to take place. So what we did, when the Machine Tool Association went to the government and said, you should give us protection, you should increase the duty on imported machines and reduce the duty on imported components. And I said to my MD, I said, do you think the government is going to agree to this? No, they were never going to agree to this. So, what we did, we said, let's crack this problem. So, we went out in India, we did a market survey, and we started asking questions to lots of customers. My basic intent was to find out why are we not getting these orders. One fact we knew was the price differential. But that was like a dead end. You go to a customer and say, why am I not buying machines? Hey, I'm getting a cheaper machine. Better quality if not the same. So that would be a dead end. So I said, let's go and find out where consumption is not happening at all. So if you go out in the marketplace and find out where consumption is not happening at all, and start asking the question, why? What is the difficulty? What are the problems the customer wants to be solved? And when you ask such questions and solve those problems, then you have your ticket to a disruptive innovation. So we did this. And through this exercise, we came out with certain specifications and a product design. Now the specifications of the machine were larger than those machines that my customers were buying, or my potential customers were buying. The price of this machine, we were able to make decent profit and sell at a price much lower than what these imported machines were costing. So, one, you have larger specifications where you can do a greater variety of jobs. Second, lower cost. Third, manufactured in India. So, you don't have to fear about service, backup, etc., etc., etc. What did it do? It opened up an entirely new segment of markets for us. A segment where people were not buying these machines. Why were they not buying these machines? Not that they didn't want, they wanted these machines. But the barrier was the cost, the barrier was the technology. Now this was a little easier on technology, simpler, and the cost, it would cost them less than when they imported machines. So it opened up completely new spaces in the market for us, which many, many years, maybe 10 years later, somebody wrote a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. It's nothing but, this is what we did here. So this is how disruption actually takes place. Okay? You need to ask these questions find these answers. And when you understand, ask questions like, why is no consumption actually happening? You know, when there is a reduction, slowdown, etc., most people go around looking at the economic factors, blame things, this is not happening, that fellow is not buying, etc. That gives no solution. But we said, okay, you are not buying a product right now. Why is no consumption happening at all? What is, what's the barrier to be broken? All of you have seen before a Sony Walkman. Now, did any customer in the world dream or ask, give me a Sony Walkman, before Sony Walkman actually came into the market? People had no inkling, no idea, right? An iPod, which disrupted the Sony Walkman. Did any customer go and ask, give me an iPod, I want an iPod to listen to my music? No. Nobody. So, you start asking these questions. Why there is no consumption at all? What are the problems my customer is facing? What are the difficulties? What are the barriers he has? And what are the barriers that I should help him to break? How? So when you find answers to this, you get your ticket to disruptive innovation. You can cause a disruption. All of these products that you have seen from the early 1900s, they have all disrupted something or the other, but all of these basically are innovations, and a lot more. I haven't had space to put all the products here, but what has each of these innovations done? Built factories, employed people, built distribution, built servicing, employed people everywhere, the sales that is generated, revenue, adds to the growth, adds to the economy. So, these are all examples of job-creating economy. A lot of people also think, innovation, wow, it has got to do something with R&D. No, not at all. There can be technological innovations, yes, that can come out of research. But that is not necessarily the route for innovation. Innovation can be much simpler. Okay? Take this example, Air. What did this maverick guy, Captain Gopinath, do? Did he invent an aircraft? No. Did he invent the airline concept? Business? No. There were airplanes before. There was aircraft before. Were people not flying before? They were. What did he do? He just asked the same question. Where consumption is not happening? Where was consumption happening before? People who could afford those airline costs, largely the corporates, or people who had money to spend. Where was the larger India? Did not have that much money to spend. What did they have? The dream and aspiration to fly. He found a solution. So he said, let's work out a model where we cut out all these frills. We cut costs by cutting out frills. And then he put together this concept of low-cost flying. And what he did was he was able to put a dream in every Indian, that every Indian could fly. What did it do? Did it disrupt the other airlines? Yes. In some years, Air Deccan had the largest share, in the airline market. Was it technology? No. just a different business model. So you have to think differently to cause disruption. Innovation is about thinking things differently, not conventionally. Take this example. This is a refrigerator. It doesn't even look like one. It doesn't run on electricity. There's no electricity. This company called Godrej in India, they sat down together once and said, and probably thought, I was not there, so I don't know, but they probably thought, they were selling refrigerators. Where were they selling refrigerators? To the urban India. Where was the larger India? The larger India was in the rural India. And the rural India cannot buy your refrigerators for two reasons. A, no power most of the time. B, no money. So where was no consumption happening at all? In the rural India. Where was the aspiration, the dream to own a refrigerator? Was it there in rural India? Yes, it was. So, were there problems to be solved to match this aspiration? Yes. So what they did, they went and studied this theory of disruption. And after studying this theory of disruption, they sat down together and, probably scratched their heads, but came out with this idea. They used the Peltier effect and created this box where the temperature in this box can be as low as 3 or 4 degrees Celsius. It cannot make ice, but it can store foodstuffs, it can store cold drinks, it can keep your water cold, whatever you want, fresh. It doesn't need electricity, you don't have to plug it in anywhere. And it costs about 2,000 rupees. So every small village shop could afford 2,000 rupees to keep this, buy some cold drinks or whatever, good stuff, put it in that, reserve it for a longer time. Now imagine how much of this market space opens up for a product like this? All of rural India. Every village. Perhaps many houses in a village too. So what does it do? Do they have to produce more of this? They have to. So do they have to set up more manufacturing facilities? They have to. Will it create jobs? Yes. Will it give them sales? Yes. Will it add to growth? Yes. Will it add to economy? Yes. Not only that, people in urban India, if they want to go for a picnic, they can buy one of this small thing, put it at the back of their car, carry whatever they want to carry when they go to picnic. So, this is what job creating innovation is all about, right? It's not necessarily got to do with a lot of R&D, research, etc. It's got to do with thinking. Technological innovations can be there, they are different. I will talk about them also. You look at some of these companies. TCS. What did TCS do in the 80s? They probably went to many companies abroad and said to them, coding is our core competence. We can do the same coding that you are doing, perhaps at 30%, 40%, 50% lower cost. And what did those guys think? Oh yeah, really? That's going to be our first fraction. So they moved